I remember I went to the gym in the morning, and trust me, the emotions got to me so bad that tears was falling in my eyes. Tears was falling out of my eyes. And trust me, when I was walking back home, I felt so emotional, and it really got to me. Hello, it's your boy Mr. CV. I'm back on my special edition of Wala Wednesday. Like I always say in Yoruba, Wala tik poju. And as they say in Pidgin English, Wala no they finish. So many problems. Obviously the last 2 weeks or so I haven't done Wala Wednesday. I was meant to do it last week, but obviously things in my life, lots of things happened, and lightning as well, and the weather has not helped as well, so it's been very difficult to get videos in. But in general, so many things has happened in my life, and obviously sometimes if I'm not in the right mental space, then obviously I don't record the videos, only because if I do record the videos, obviously the quality of the videos is not going to come out as much as I want to, as much as I want it, or what I would say in the videos, I might not be able to do it. And I did record one video last week, but I wasn't happy with it, the lightning and everything. And I think my room might be the spot where I record my Wala Wednesdays, and my lounge will be in the, and my lounge or my living room will be the place where I record my other videos, where I talk about life or talk about things that comes to me. On this segment of Wala Wednesday is all about solving people's problems that's happened in my life and how I've managed to solve it, but also problems that other people have faced that have told me that obviously I've given my opinion on. And if you have any problems, drop it in the email below or drop it in the comment section, and I'm sure I can pick it up. Today, obviously, we also have interesting things to talk about, interesting problems to solve, so don't go anywhere and stay tuned. So my first one, this time I've written it on my phone. Now the reason why I've written it on my phone instead of my book where there's problems is because the problems are scattered everywhere. So sometimes it's so long flicking the book up and down trying to look for where the problem is, and sometimes I spend like literally 5 minutes looking through, and obviously this just saves me a lot of time. Maybe in the future I might progress it into just having it on a piece of paper where I've written all the 3 problems that I want to talk about, or the problems I want to talk about, and it just makes it very easy for me. Now let me not bore you with that part, because obviously that's on my part in terms of the production part. Obviously my part is just to give my thoughts. Obviously my part is just to give my thoughts and my opinion, and obviously what I think. Like I always say, my opinion is just my opinion, and it's just what I will do in the situation, and what I think, what I believe, how I do my things. It doesn't mean that's the ultimate truth, and it doesn't mean that's what you have to do. Obviously you can listen to what I have to do, you can disagree, that's absolutely fine, because we all have different lives. But as long as we open up a conversation in a matured and respectful way, that is absolutely fine. We all have different lives, we all come from different environment, different backgrounds, so obviously the way we see life and the way we see things is obviously going to be different. This is just the way I see things, based on my reflection, based on how I've lived my life, based on how I grew up, and based on how I think myself, because I'm a free thinker. I'm a person that speaks my own mind, so this is just based on how I think. So please do not hear what I say and listen to my opinion and think, oh, that's what you must do. No, you can hear my opinion. It might give you a different perspective, you might align with my perspective, and obviously that's absolutely fine. Even if you don't align with my perspective, and if you think differently, that is also fine as well. Trust me, we have over billions of people in the world. Everybody cannot all think the same, so, and it's absolutely fine. My platform here and this Wala Wednesday is just to share my opinion and solve some of the world's problem, and that's what I want my platform to do. So, and that's absolutely fine. Now, in talking about my platform as well, I also have other YouTube channels as well, which I'm going to put the link in the description that you can always tune into. I've got one for entertainment, which I call it CV Junk, and I've also got one for football, which I just started because I'm very passionate, and I'm very passionate about football, I'm very passionate about health, and I'm very passionate about fitness as well. But main part is I'm very passionate about football, so I've just started it. Anyone that watches football, definitely go to that channel, go and subscribe on that channel, and if you want to get involved in that channel, definitely shout me and we can get something going. But let me leave all that part, let me go back into these problems today, because like I say, wahala no dey finish. Trust me, as you finish one problem, another problem is around the corner waiting for you. So wahala, problems is just part of life. Some people agree with that, some people don't. That's absolutely fine. But for me, problems is just part of life. So when a lot of problems happen, I don't get scared. Just talking about problem, just during this week actually, thankfully nothing's happened to me, but I had a car crash actually. When I say I had a car crash, I don't know, it sounds very, very serious. It is serious, but someone hit my car from the back. So obviously it's been very tough for me mentally, and lots of personal things has also happened in my life as well. And the last week or so has been very, very tough for me. And trust me, I'm a person that I'm very, very strong mentally, but sometimes a lot of things can get to you. But thankfully I've got a lot of people around me that obviously motivate me, that keep me going, and I'm very, very grateful to all of them actually, because obviously without them, without God, it would have been very, very tough for me. And listen, I'm just one of many individuals that is going through a lot of things, that went through a lot of things. And trust me, when I walked round, when I something happened in my personal life recently, and I remember I went to the gym in the morning, and trust me, the emotions got to me so bad that tears was falling in my eyes. It was falling out of my eyes. And trust me, and when I was walking back home, I felt so emotional, and it really got to me. And as I was walking, I was thinking, wow, so many other people that are going through so much things in their life, and I'm walking past people thinking everybody's fine, and some people look okay but they're not okay. And trust me, like I said, obviously I've been able to speak, I've been able to reach out to people, and they've been able to support me as well. And if you are going through any things that you're going through, whether personal life, whether just in general, please do reach out to people so that people can help you, because you don't have to go through that alone. But anyways, like I said, let me go through today's problem. So I'm going to read it off my phone. Today I don't have my book with me because, like I said, flicking through the books all the time. For today, it is going to be quite too much. So for today, I've got my phone here. So the first one is, my girl wanted me to buy a Chanel bag worth £6,000 or 6k. He said that's what her friend's boyfriend do for her. Should I buy it? Wow. When it comes to this part, when it comes to money, now obviously I see money differently. Now there's a reason why I see money differently, is because first of all, I didn't grow up around, obviously my parents were fine, we were just average normal person, or average normal family. But obviously when as soon as I was growing up, I always had different mentalities. I always thought differently, and I always felt I was born to do great things. So I always felt I was born to be great, and I was born to strive to achieve. And for me, I didn't want the bare minimum. I didn't want to be average. I want to be the best in what I do, and I strive to be the best. Whether I become the best, that's a different question, but obviously I always push it. So when it comes to money, the way I see money very differently. I don't see money as something that you just make and you just dash out just like that and become a free giver, because that's not in my nature. I'm a person where I will spend my money, but I will spend it when I feel it's right for me to spend it. I will not just spend my money just lavishly just like that, because obviously everybody works hard for their money, but I work extremely hard for my money. I work extremely hard to get to the position I'm in today. So for me, I just don't have that mentality of I'll just dash the money. But one thing I do have the mentality of is, if there is an abundance of money and I'm able to spend money without even having to think about it, without even having to think that, oh, I've got my rent to pay, I've got my mortgage to pay, I've got this to pay, I've got that to pay, then of course I will spend my money. But if I've got so much priorities in my life where, like I said, those things that I mentioned, and then you're asking me for a £6,000 bag, for me personally, I will always put my priorities first. When I sort out my priorities and there is an abundance of money, or there is money available, of course, why not? Because at the end of the day, if you have that kind of money and you can spend it, fantastic. But if you're like myself, where obviously you're hustling your way up, you're still grinding, you're still pushing, then of course I always put my priorities first. So for me personally, I think I don't have any issue with you buying your girl £6,000 bag, because if you can afford it, you can buy it. Fantastic. That's not an issue at all. That's not a problem. What I do have an issue is is the part where she said that's what her friend's boyfriend do for her friend, should I buy it? And I think sometimes, obviously, when you're in a relationship, there's a lot of comparing. My friend boyfriend does this, so you start putting pressure on yourself to do things that you don't normally do. And I remember long time ago when I was with some girl at this time, she was also kind of putting that kind of pressure. My friend's boyfriend do this, my friend, and I was just like, look, listen, I'm not down for that. If that's what your friend boyfriend do, then it's better for you to go and ask your friend to go and look for a similar boyfriend for you, because clearly that's not me. Sometimes it's very hard, but you have to be clear and you have to say what you expect. So for me, I think that comparing, this is what my friend boyfriend does, this is what my friend girlfriend does, so you have to do the same. No, every relationship is different. Every relationship, you take it with you and your partner are the one that's going to make the rules of what works for you and what doesn't work. And there's too much of this pop nosing into other people's relationship and trying to copy what other does. For me, I'm not in support of that at all. But like I said, if you have abundance of money, or you have money that you know for sure when you spend it you don't have to worry about it, then of course, why not? You can definitely buy the Chanel bag. But if you feel like, you know what, if I spend this money, it's going to impact me financially, it's going to be a financial burden on myself, then for me personally, I wouldn't think it's wise for you to spend that kind of money. But I do think in that case, you should have a communication with your partner and tell your girlfriend that, look, listen, I want to buy you these things, but right now the funds are not available. And for me personally, if she now decides that, look, she doesn't want to be with you because of that, then that's absolutely fine, let her go. But if she understands and she's able to see from your perspective, then that's absolutely fine at all. But that's my take on that part. If anyone has any comment on that part, or anybody wants to add to that part, drop it into the comment section. Scenario number 2. I fell in love with this girl in my childhood, but now we have a baby, but the love is not there anymore. We are just together because of the baby. Should I leave or should I stay? What should I do? Wow. Now, as I'm growing older and blah blah blah, I'm seeing a lot of relationships, and a lot of relationships is now like both parties know mentally they're not there, but physically they're there. So they're living together, but mentally they're like, we're just only here because of the child. And it's a very, very difficult situation. For me personally, if it was me personally, if I'm not there mentally and I know things are not working, of course, like, it's good if the child has a dad and a mum together, obviously to see that nuclear family. But for me personally, if you are not happy, if the partner is not happy, I will always go my separate ways, only because first of all, your peace of mind is very important, and second of all, for me, I don't even think is even good for the child. It's like a bit of deceit. But for me, I don't just like to give up on things very easily, because for me, I just feel like there needs to be a level of communication. There needs to be a level where both parties need to be ready to sort out things. If both parties are willing and ready to sort out things, then of course it makes it a lot more easier, because at least you can now have a form of communication. But also as well, I know some people who know people that they're just together, but they're not really there mentally together. And one of the reasons, because divorce these days costs a lot of money. And trust me, a lot of people don't want to be going through that process of divorce. So what do? They just end up being together, staying together. And some of them hide behind, we're just there because of the kids. I know a lot of relationships just like that, where they just say, we're just there because of the kids. And going back to the scenario as well, this is a person you fell in love with your childhood. I just watched something today actually on TikTok where this person said, it was a monk, he actually said relationship is like a circle. Some days you have good days, you keep going. Some days you have bad days, you keep going. Then good days again, you keep going. Bad days again, you keep going. So that's what completes the circle. But for me, when I watched that video, it sounds fantastic theoretically. Practically, it can be difficult. The reason why it can be difficult for me practically is because if one party is making that effort to make the relationship work, and the other party is not really showing any effort to make that relationship work. If one party is saying, look, I care about you, I want this to work, but then their behaviors or actions are not in line with what they're saying, then of course it's going to be very difficult. If one party is ready to speak, communicate and make it work, but the other party, they're not showing any form of speaking, talking, or any form of action to make it work, then it's going to be very, very difficult. Because at the end of the day, it's not just you in this relationship, it's you and your partner, and both of you have to be willing to be on the same level in making sure you're able to make it work. So whether to leave or to stay, I'm not going to say whether to leave or to stay. For me, what I would say is, if you're truly not happy and you're able to communicate with your partner, express how you really feel, and you and your partner are able to meet and talk and try to sort it out, then obviously you both can make a decision. But if you feel this is what's the best for you, then you have to make that decision. Personally, like I said, if it was me, I would always not just give up just like that. I would like to have a civil communication with my partner, express how I'm feeling, express what ways can we actually go about this. Because at the end of the day, one thing someone said to me, people don't really change. People can adapt, but people don't really change. It took a while for me to understand, but I think, yes, I'm starting to understand that yes, of course, some people are just so used to the way they do things. So sometimes it's either you accept them as they are like that and you love them like that, or you decide that, look, that's not for me, and look for someone else. So people can adapt to themselves, but people always go back to how they are. So like I said, for me, I don't believe in just giving up just like that. I believe in working it out with your partner. Try to come to a resolution, a civil resolution, and if you can, fantastic, and if you can't come to a resolution, then obviously that's when you have to make your own decision. So I'll leave that to you. Let's go to the final one, scenario number 3. Now this one is a big one, so this is the biggest one, so definitely don't go anywhere, stay. And like I said, if you have any comments in any of the scenarios that I've said, drop it into the comment section. And if you have any scenarios that you want me to talk about, listen, drop in the email and I can definitely do that as well. So the final one is this. My girl had a major surgery and her body needed to heal. She needed to start eating more healthier foods such as salad. Upon getting home after the surgery, I told my girl to reduce the heavy Nigerian food she eats, such as pounded yam, eba. They call it swallow. Now swallow is food such as pounded yam, eba, and any other Nigerian food. And she basically refused to stop eating them, and we had a little argument. Before you know it, she was on the phone with her friend saying what happened in front of me and how we've broken up. I decided to leave as I found it disrespectful, and he gave me lots of red flags. I also gave her space for a couple days, hoping she will call me or message me to apologize and we move on. However, she didn't do neither for 2 days, and when I decided to call her on the 3rd day, I found out she had blocked me. What should I do? Wow. Now this is a very, very tricky situation, because obviously you can act emotionally and pass the blame around. It's your fault, it's my fault. But for me personally, if that happened to me personally, what I would do, first of all, obviously from what he's saying that she just had a major surgery where obviously her body needed to heal. If a girl or a woman like that have a surgery like that, especially when it's concerning her body, it's going to have a lot of impact on her emotionally and mentally as well. So that part itself is very, very difficult. The second part as well is about obviously advising her to eat more healthy. And for me personally, if you're in a relationship, for me, you should be in a space where you should be able to give advice to your partner, and your partner should be able to do the same as well. And it's not just about giving advice to your partner, it's about making sure you understand and listen and acknowledge what your partner is saying. And I think your partner should also do the same. Some people come with this mentality, I'm the man, I do whatever I say. I don't believe in that mentality. I believe in having a civilized communication with your partner, and not just having a civilized communication with your partner, is about acknowledging what they're saying, taking in what they're saying, and try to obviously do better as well. For me, I just don't agree with the part that obviously from what the guy is saying, he's told her partner and basically she just blatantly refused and basically said, no, I'm gonna do what I want to do, blah blah blah. And I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Even if that's what you are going to do, at least acknowledge what your partner is saying. And then obviously after you acknowledge what your partner is saying, if you don't disagree, then of course you come out and be like, okay, cool, respectfully, listen, I don't disagree with what you said, and I'm not happy the way you went about it, but just basically saying, oh, I'm not going to do it and that's what I'm going to do, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. And then moving on to the second part of this as well, where the partner said, obviously, she now went on the phone talking to her friend and saying basically they're broken up, they just had an argument. Personally, she might have done that because she's joking around or blah blah blah, but for me still, I still feel that's a bit disrespectful. The reason is because your partner is right there, your partner is still in the same room with you, and I don't think there's any guy out there or any person out there that would be okay with their partner just going on the phone right in front of them and saying, listen, we just had an argument, we're gonna break up, and then think that's a joke. For me personally, I don't take that as a joke, and I don't think there's anybody out there that will accept that, and I won't find that disrespectful. I don't think that's the right thing to do. And even if she did want to do that, at least let your partner go. Don't do it in front of your boyfriend. It's like weeing on your back and saying to your partner it's raining. It doesn't make sense at all. And I think that's the best way to go about it. Also as well, we would have said the partner should have just addressed the situation there and then, which obviously most times, yeah, you should do. But I think because of the intense situation of, you didn't listen to me when I spoke to you, I think maybe that's the reason why the partner left the room. Personally, I would have also left the room as well, only because obviously I don't want to create more chaos than it is. Go home, come back refreshed, and then obviously we try and sort it out. But obviously, like I said, there isn't a right way or wrong way, and just because I said I'm going to do this doesn't mean that's the perfect way. You might also address the situation differently if you were in that situation. Sometimes they did say distance is the best way to avoid disrespect, and for me personally, I will also choose that as well. In this situation, partner giving a bit of distance, I think is a chance for obviously the girl to reflect and realize what she's done. And normally, if you reflect and realize what you've done, and I think a lot of people need to learn to say sorry in a relationship, because if you're in a relationship, you're going to do things that's going to offend your partner. Your partner is also going to do things that's going to offend you as well. For the sake of the relationship, you need to learn to say sorry. You need to learn to say, you know what, I'm sorry. You talk about it, you move on. But a lot of people have so much ego, so much stubbornness, and they're not ready to drop their ego or stubbornness. That's man and woman in a relationship. If you want a relationship to work, then you have to be able to drop your ego, drop your stubbornness, and be ready to actually have good level of communication where you can talk to your partner and you can say, you know what, listen, I didn't know these things offended you, I didn't mean it in this way, and you have a communication, you move on. And for the sake of the relationship, it's very important. Final part of this scenario is the fact that obviously after 2 days, the guy didn't hear from her, didn't call, she didn't text, she didn't do any of that. And then on top of that, by the time the guy wanted to reach out, she blocked him. Not just blocking anybody, you're blocking your partner. And I think in this situation, clearly, like I said, you can use emotions to attack, to go about it, but clearly the girl's acting out of emotions. She's probably thinking on her hand, wait, I'm going through such a difficult time with the surgery, and this person, regardless of whatever's happened, hasn't reached out to me and is meant to be my boyfriend. And then the guy on the other hand is also thinking, wait, I've been disrespected, and my girlfriend itself has not even called once to apologize, to say sorry, to try and even reconcile the situation. So like I said, on both sides is very tense. For me, blocking the guy, I think that's a bit immature, to be honest with you. I think blocking the guy without even having a conversation with the person, without having a conversation with the guy, without even reaching out at all, I think that's very, very immature. And I think there are mature way of doing things. For me personally, if I was in that situation, looking at the whole situation, the whole picture of the surgery, the whole thing that's happened, I think personally what I would do, as obviously their boyfriend and girlfriend, he definitely knows her house, I think he should go to her and actually speak to her. For me, going to the extent of blocking someone, those are big signs in your head. For me personally, those are big red flags in my head. Because for me personally, if you can block me when we're boyfriend and girlfriend, then if you get married or if you decide to take it further, if we get into another situation, what else are you going to do? And those are questions that have been raining in my head. But like I said, I don't want you to go into that direction and think that way, because like I said, this girl has had a major surgery in her life. She's going through a lot, and because she's going through a lot, obviously there is a bit of care that needs to be taken, and there's a bit of empathy as well that needs to be taken as well. So for me personally, that's how I'll deal with the situation. If you have a different way of dealing with the situation, or you think you have a more matured way of dealing with the situation, then definitely drop in the comment section. And also I would say as well, of course the girl is going through a tough time, but I do think as well that's not a reason to be disrespectful. That's not a reason to block people. That's not a reason to just do things and think it's absolutely fine. Because trust me, if your child was going through a tough time and then you tried to speak to your child, that's not a reason for your child to slap you in the face and think that's okay because they're going through a tough time. No, there should be also a matured way of dealing with situations. But like I said, I've already said in the video, we also have to look at the big picture and look at both sides as well. And it's easy to say, oh, the girl is wrong. It's easy to say the guy is wrong. But I think it's just about a level of maturity and dealing with situations maturely. That's all my scenarios done. It's your boy, Mr. CV. Keep tuning in for more Wahala Wednesday videos. Definitely more Wahala, more problems are definitely coming, because look, problems are part of life. So definitely this Wahala Wednesday that just opened up is not going anywhere soon. It's not going to die down anytime soon, only because there's always new problems. New problems are always arising every day. New problems are always coming up every day. So listen, the world is filled with so much problems. The world is filled with so much good things, but the world is also filled with so much problems as well. Problems is part of life. Trust me. I'm sure in the next 10 minutes throughout the day, there's going to be problems here and there. But for me, like I said, I'm not scared of problems because I already know problems is part of life. So I don't get scared of any problems. What I do is I stand up tall, I face my problems, and I deal with them in a mature way, and I deal with them in a way where I feel I've done my best. Once you've done your best, then you can be happy within yourself. And it's your boy Mr. CV. I'm not going to take your time. Keep watching your boy Mr. CV. Keep tuning into my content. Definitely like, share and subscribe the videos if it will help other people. So have a fantastic day, have a nice day. Sorry, just a final thing, when it comes to relationship as well, obviously relationship is a continuous work in progress. There isn't a manual where you can go and read and say, oh yeah, this is how to build a perfect relationship. Relationship is between yourself and your partner, and try to get a level of understanding between each other. And for me, there has to be a level of effort from both sides in order to make a relationship work. If one side is giving all the efforts and the other side is not really putting the same level of effort, then it's going to be very, very difficult. I'm not a relationship expert. I just give my thoughts on what I feel I would do in these situations. So do not take my word for it. I'm not even great at relationship like that. So I'm also working on it. I'm also reading and trying to see how I can become better, because I don't just feel I should become better physically, mentally. I also feel I should become better in all the aspects of my whole life, whether a relationship with people, relationship with my partner, relationship with whoever I'm with, or in general anyways. But as always, listen, I'm not